If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time, who still questions the power of our democracy, tonight is your answer.
Barack Obama's victory, of course, was due in part to Virginia and Indiana, two traditional Republican states that went with him. And let's get to Richmond, Virginia Mayor Doug Wilder, who supported Barack Obama. He's also the former governor. And Governor, first of all, your reaction to the results in Virginia last night.
Well, I was so pleased, Dave, when Virginia was announced, then you guys called it for Obama, which, in my judgment, was what I thought all along. That if Virginia votes for Obama, he can make it. His speech was tremendous, and I was listening earlier in terms of what he's going to be inheriting. It reminded me so much of when I had made so many promises when I was running for governor, and then inherited a $2.2 billion shortfall. Now, that was near 20 years ago, similar to what we have now. And I knew, because I was African-American as well as Democrat, people said I was going to waste and spend and tax and do all those sorts of things. Did none of it, and yet put Virginia in substance, established a rainy day fund, a reserve fund that others are calling upon. This couldn't be a better test of the mettle of Barack Obama. I'm not saying that I wish this upon him, but he can handle it. He'll be measured to it, and he'll do the job.
I want to ask you about something that used to be referred to as the Bradley effect and then the Wilder effect when it involved you. I mean, Barack Obama actually ended up doing pretty close to what the polls suggested he would do in states like Virginia and Indiana and Pennsylvania. So fair to say that this sort of issue of sort of racism in the way it might play out in an electorate, that this nation, certainly in parts like Virginia, has moved beyond that?
Well, I think two things. I think you're right in that assessment that it has moved, but polling is better. It's more accurate. The technology is improved upon significantly. Harold Ford's race in Tennessee and Ron Kirk's race in Texas, when they ran for the U.S. Senate in those two cases, the polls projected them to be one place. They ended up pretty much there. I thought that the polls were saying, particularly in Virginia, that he'd win by about 5 points, 6 points. I thought the national polls were settling around that. That's where he ended up. But I think something else, though, there was a reverse Bradley effect. That's where some Republicans and some independents who may have said they were not going to vote for him, they ended up, particularly in the suburbs, voting for him.
Do you think that was because they wanted to be part of history?
No, I think because in my case in 1989, there were a lot of Republican women in the suburbs that didn't trust my opponent's stand relative to abortion and Roe v. Wade. Many of them don't like John McCain's stand on that. Many of them will say, okay, my husband might vote for this guy. I'm not. I think to the extent that these are enlightened people and that they are Republicans sometimes by choice, nobody in Virginia wins with all one-party vote. You have to have crossover. You have to have independence. And in this instance, I thought you had significant crossover and independent votes. I'm so proud of Virginia, proud of America. This is a great day and a great time to be, again, the renewed leader of the free world.
And maybe just the fact that policy issues seem to drive so many voters in their choice yesterday, maybe that is perhaps the greatest accomplishment when we talk about issues of race and racism of all. In any case, Governor Doug Wilder, the mayor now of Richmond, Virginia. Governor, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much, David. It's my pleasure, and hope to see you again.
I hope so, too.